Bro, I promise y'all, I've been hearing y'all talk about Beam all day. Is it really true that this is gonna help me to sleep? Like for real?
Yes, brother. Yes. I will not go to sleep without the Beam anymore. That is like a part of my nightly routine now, and it makes all the difference. Before the Beam, I never ever dreamed. Now I dream every night.
You the only one that haven't took Beam yet, huh?
I just touched, like, took a little.
Yeah, so
nip.
you ain't take it.
I ain't take it for real.
You got to take it tonight, brother.
I be feeling like I'm
You got to come back
slumpy
and let them know.
I've been slumpy already. I don't know.
Oh shit! He
By
might
the time
go
he takes the Beam, he might not wake up again.
He might go into a coma for real. Nah, Brock was having a lot of problems with sleep, man. I remember you was telling us he was like, "I'm gonna go to the doctor," and then
Yeah,
so, like,
no,
this really been
literally,
helping?
that's what's so crazy about this, y'all. Cause this is how I know God is real. Cause I was literally about to go to a sleep doctor because I really struggled to sleep.
He was,
and then we actually just happened to,
ran across Beam.
find out about Beam, and so it's okay. I'll try this first, and it has literally solved my problem. Like, I think the biggest keys here are what are the ingredients? We got the melatonin, the magnesium, and the theanine. All of those like combined. Cause I've heard of all these things separately, but when you combine them all, it's like you get in the bed and you feel like something's weighing you down. Like that's how you don't feel like moving, and then you wake up and
I remember you said that I felt like I sunk in the bed.
That's how I felt. Yeah, and it helps me relax my mind before I get to bed. So you can turn on some Cartier Family, lay down, hit the Beam, go to sleep. All right, guys. So what you want to do is go to beam.com and put in the discount code Cartier, and that's going to get you 35% off. That's not no little discount. That is a big discount, y'all. Beam is really blessing. It's a company that, has value similar to ours, and they really just want to help. So 35% off with the code Cartier.
This is going to come up because it's been going on since we've been recording here. Elon and Trump seem to be in a bit of a spat, Joe. You want to check the tweet that Elon just put out a little bit ago?
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
I'm not participating in any of that conversation
What is
between Elon
Have a
and Trump.
nice day, DJT. Someone should take his phone away.
They're going back and forth about different things. And
Yeah. Listen,
Well, he said he was disappointed in Elon.
yeah,
You know,
they told him to leave.
Jesus Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
What the fuck are they doing?
I know my lane, and that ain't it. Again, we're going to give you everything we can, and people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening, because then he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island, and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
So
where else would it be?
right, if you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it
No, we're giving you everything we have.
so far.
Everything we have so far is
Have
the
you
universe.
guys gone over
All there
all the
is.
video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
Right.
And
And is there video from the island?
not what you want. The people out there have filled the void with can't wait to see X, Y, or Z.
Right, speculation.
And I'm like, here's the other thing I've been asking for, right? Openly. If you have information on this, call us. Tell us. The best resource we have is the American people in the world.
I don't know. So they don't have anything, bro. It's
Yeah.
not coming out because they don't have it.
Yeah, the way he's like, it's basically sounds like he's trying to make it seem like he doesn't have anything they can release. Oh, y'all want to see this, but we don't have what you want to see. So that's just basically them can cheapen up what they release, soften the landing of what they drop.
But they got something, because why would they put them black markers through all them pages?
I mean, I'm sure they have like a history of what happened.
To not re-victimize the women, probably.
Yeah, like he said.
You think that's the reason?
Keep their identities private.
But Elon saying that about Trump, man, that's just bad for America, in my opinion.
Elon was
It's
flying
like,
off the
bruh,
handle.
You just hit, that was low-key a liberal move.
Yeah.
Keep it real.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just kind of flew off the handle. Like, obviously, he's upset about something, and the way he chose to go about handling it was bad. But I did see some speculation were saying, like, there's a lot of anti-Elon people behind the scenes in the White House, and then that are pulling strings, and they said like Trump sided with them, which has led to Elon's exit, which is why he's like upset.
Yeah, that's kind of what I saw PBD say too. He was like, he thinks that there was some type of meeting where somebody basically, not physically, but like punched Elon in the mouth with something they said or did, and Trump didn't really react in a way that Elon wanted.
Well, you gotta really think about it. How Elon actually got that black eye?
Yeah, that's been a lot of speculation as well. There's been a lot of speculation on that as well.
That is kind of weird, but I don't think. So you think they're correlated?
Yes, because that's what we seen the energy change.
They were fighting in the White House,
bro. Like really think about it. That day when we seen them speak,
it doesn't seem right to me.
Elon, like whole energy just seemed off. That day, he was like, "Yeah, I'm stepping down from Doge. I'm stepping away from the presidency."
But I mean, there was already like a plan for him to step away from Doge at some
he was
point.
he was gone.
It was already in motion.
But the timing of it, like a day or two later, he talking about this now.
I think it's something that happened in a meeting. I don't think that the black eye or any of that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
So fentanyl, right? Everybody's like, how do you attack fentanyl? How do you stop this stuff? Okay, yes, let's go after the gangs, the narco terrorists down in Mexico. 100%. You got to go after the cartels, the drug trafficking organizations.
Say it right.
You got to shore up the southern border. The president has done an amazing job at both of those things, made it a priority. So we have decreased the amount of fentanyl being moved around, let's say, right? But not necessarily coming into the United States. So where's the root of the problem? The CCP. So the fentanyl precursors, the stuff you need to make fentanyl, comes from mainland China. That's it. Now, I'm sure like 1% of it comes from somewhere else in the world, but that's where it comes. They've got hundreds of companies standing up in mainland China shipping this stuff out into the world. Now, their cover is that fentanyl has, and it does have a legitimate lawful purpose in terms of an anesthetic or medical use for anesthesiology related stuff. Okay, so there's like a minimal use for it. And what the CCP has done is they've come out and said, this is like the biggest, like talk about the devil pulling the wool over the world's eyes. They're like, we don't make fentanyl. They're right. They don't. They just give you all the ingredients for it and ship it to Mexico. And then what they did was to trick the world. They came out and said, hey, we're going to not sell precursor X. They're like, so now we're out of the fentanyl trade entirely. The problem is there's 14 other precursors you can use to make fentanyl, and they're still shipping all of those. Damn. So what we did when I got to the bureaus, we stood up this massive enterprise to go after fentanyl precursor companies in mainland China. And they're probably not going to like that. And what they're doing now to get cute is they're shipping that stuff not straight here. They're going to places like India, and I'm also doing operations in India. And they're having the Mexican cartels now make the fentanyl down in Mexico still. But, instead of going right up the southern border and into America, you know what they're doing? They're flying it into Vancouver. They're taking the precursors up to Canada, manufacturing it up there, and doing their global distribution routes from up there because we were been so effective down south.
Wow.
That makes complete sense.
It too makes
That's absolutely insane.
It seemed like China just been playing biological and psychological warfare on the American people, man.
I wouldn't even say it's just America because, like, obviously fentanyl is like
Where's
a
fentanyl
problem
at?
Here, but he said they're doing a global operation. So
Where is they selling fentanyl at?
They must be shipping it everywhere.
Well, I feel like only
Obviously,
place we
probably
see in
the
America.
we probably see the worst effects of it here in America because we have other drug problems here.
I don't know, gang. Because you think you see people in UK bending over and leaning and stuff like
They're
that.
on drugs there.
I think they a little bit, but not to the same extent.
Not to the same extent. They probably have more resources there. They're more liberal, so they probably have a better lid on what they got going on over there.
Actually,
I cannot see fentanyl in like Europe, bro. Me personally.
What are fentanyl deaths worldwide?
It's only America, guys. I'm telling you, probably tell y'all.
Is it only an American problem?
I said, does Europe have a fentanyl problem like America? Let's see what it says.
I'll say no.
Does not face a fentanyl crisis on the scale of the U.S., but there are signs of an emerging threat.
Yeah, it says Canada has.
I can see that.
It says Canada has 7,500 opioid deaths, and fentanyl is responsible for 81,000 of them. The U.S. is the epicenter of fentanyl deaths, with us at 73.8 thousand deaths by fentanyl.
Lots.
Oh, it says
They said they do a lot of heroin in Europe, though.
yeah.
But yeah, the poppy seeds, I can see that.
That's
Because you
why,
can get
yeah.
that from the Middle East, though.
Yeah.
But I can't see, like, who's going to be the main people selling the fentanyl to the people in Europe? Because we got the cartel. So
Like, right. Yeah. So, like he was saying, the way they're making it, they're sending all the stuff and then either making it in Canada or Mexico and sending it through the north border. So I don't know. And America has more customers.
Well, it says the reason why it's prevalent in America is because it's smuggled into the U.S. and mixed into other drugs, which is
Perks.
increasing the risk. So all these fake drugs, it says the U.S. accounts for a disproportionate amount due to illicit fentanyl spread in the drug supply, often mixed with heroin, cocaine, and counterfeit pills. So all the fake drugs is what's getting our deaths, not direct fentanyl use. People lacing the drugs.
I knew the perk was fake and I still ate it.
Yeah, it's a huge lift, but part of it is Americans just don't understand the depth and depravity of fentanyl. But what's worse is fentanyl. You don't hear fentanyl deaths in China. You don't hear fentanyl deaths in India. You don't really hear fentanyl deaths in England, Australia, New Zealand, our Five Eyes partners in Canada. The Chinese, in my opinion, the CCP, have used it as a directed approach because we are their adversary and they don't like us and we don't like what they're doing when it comes to fentanyl. And their long-term game is this. How do I, in my opinion, kneecap the United States of America, our largest adversary? Well, why don't we go and take out generations of young men and women who might grow up to serve in the United States military or become a cop or become a teacher? And that's what they're doing when you wipe out tens of thousands of Americans a year. It's a long-term plan for them.
Oh, that is such a dark.
It's interesting. Interesting, like that he said that at the end, because I think that paints a picture that the fact that like people that are dying from fentanyl are not just like drug users. Like it is the next generation. Because I mean, there's college students right now that are doing drugs that could die. I know someone who died from taking fake pills.
Yeah,
and he was a student, great kid, religious family. His sister was in the church growing up. Like he was a good kid. He was in the frat, doing what frat boys do, having fun, and took a fake pill and died.
It takes a little bit.
It takes a tiny bit, and it's really unfortunate because like he was a good guy. So like I really like that he sprinkled that in there because it could really paint a picture to you that I feel like a lot of people will be like, oh, those are just drug users that are dying, people that are already on drugs, but it's really not though.
Yeah.
That's why Taj is right. It is biological warfare in a sense, and the fact that they tried COVID first, not saying they did it on purpose.
Oh, they 100%.
Well, the
did it on
U.S.
purpose.
funded that, so can't really get too mad at China.
$1 billion
about that.
industry.
Well, they went
We
back
funded
door.
that.
$1 billion industry.
USAID.
People made money off that.
But this could be, because they are making all the ingredients. So, I mean, I don't know, man. And they're not having deaths there. They're the ones making the ingredients. So that just is a little bit weird to me.
They just know they got a heavy consumer base here, bro.
They got a lot of people in China,
and
too.
I'd like to paint a picture like people were mad about the tariffs that we dropped on China and talking about how we get so much stuff from China, but China is literally trying to kill Americans. Like, why are we mad that we're bottlenecking them and making them play fair and stop trying to screw over the world and get over on people? Because obviously their country has benefited greatly from that. Like China from 2000 to China in 2025, night and day levels of growth, night and day levels of technology.
Cities look different.
Oh my gosh, dude. There used to be a permanent smog cloud over China. I remember I used to see it on TV when I was in elementary school. China was a polluting country and had a cloud of smog. That shit's gone now. That's how efficient they've been developing. They've been fixing problems and stuff. Like it's actually insane.
They said they don't have like very many at all reported fentanyl deaths in China. It said only 163 in the EU, all of the EU, Norway, and Turkey. Only 163, and this is the US has 80,000.
I think it's illegal for them to even like take fentanyl in China because you could go to jail for doing drugs. I think
You can.
I'm about to say, like, what is their drug issues like? Like, do people even do drugs there? Because I know people use
I know they're
recreational
probably
drugs.
strict. They probably put you in jail.
They control what they see on the internet. They probably so strict. It's interesting as well because they have places in Europe where you can do drugs, like in Amsterdam. You can just buy drugs.
Yeah. I've heard that before.
So I guess since they like legalized it, I guess they just have a super sustainable way.
Well,
to
they probably have like
that.
it's like actually I have no idea how they do it, but
maybe they're organically sourcing the drugs.
I don't know what they're doing.
You're going to sell these drugs in this state or this country, you have to get them from here.
Yeah,
maybe that's it. I don't know. Who knows?
That's the vulnerability that we have for being such a free society. We allow foreign nationals to come in and go to universities and start and do research and become the head of these different departments, and they're constantly reporting back to the CCP or coordinating with them.
Yeah.
What?
Or Russia.
That's facts.
And they're not going to stop. That's the thing with these guys. It's just because you take one out, unless you take a whole of government approach, unless you get buy-in from the American public. And again, this is one of those things that you would think is a national security issue, right?
Yeah.
But they'll politicize it. They'll weaponize it. The Post will write about it one way, and it probably won't even make the headlines in a number of other outlets because they don't want to talk about that.
Has the New York Times written about this,
I
Jamie?
have no idea.
I mean, it seems like something that everybody should want to know about. If a foreign government, an adversary government, is trying to poison our food supply and human beings and affect the reproductive system, that seems like that's a bipartisan issue.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I did see where the Trump administration proposed to do a lot more stricter, or proposed to be a lot more stricter on visas for Chinese nationals, and people were upset about that. Like
you just said,
I mean,
politicize it.
It's interesting. Like, why is this being politicized? We need to be stricter about our country. We don't need loose immigration laws. We need stricter laws. Do they need to have a better system on who gets processed faster in immigration? I mean, I'd go as far to say yes. Like, if people are coming here to work and add to our economy and be an American, why don't we push harder to get those people in, and then everyone else gets.
That's where it gets tricky though, because he's saying like they'll take they'll have Chinese spies essentially who are really good at school. Yeah, and they'll come over here and then they'll become the head of something and then sway all these people one way, for the good of the CCP.
Yeah,
and I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I mean,
watch China.
Well, we should have known though, because we seen when China came to America, they
had the
cleaned
spy
up the
balloon,
whole.
and they had the spy balloon.
I'd like to point out another thing though. I'd like to point out another thing though. Like, there was GOP members talking about we shouldn't let China own land here, and there's been members of Congress on the Democrat side who are voting against that. They want China to own land here. So obviously, we have members of our government who are in China's back pocket.
Maybe they're Chinese spies. They say we Russian spies. Maybe they Chinese spies.
I think the game of politics is a dirty game because people are quite literally being paid off to
look the other way,
push political agendas on behalf of different things, and they're being paid thousands to millions of dollars for that. Like, yeah. I mean, like, and then people can sit on the outside and say, "Oh, that's never me. I'd never do that." But if someone drops $2 million in your face,
it's in the trash can outside of your house.
We'll give you $2 million, $30 million to do this, $100,000, $400,000 to do this and that, and you can drop that in the market and 10 times that. I mean, why would they not? What moral obligation do they have to stay non-corrupt?
I guess it just depends on that's why you gotta elect people who you do feel like. That's why I feel like it's good to have someone with money running it, because you can't really influence somebody who already has money with money. They just want more power.
I mean, I see the point there. I do agree with that. I think that's why I like Trump, because he's not a career politician, and that's why I like Vivek, because he's not a career politician. So I'm more interested to hear what these people have to say. But I also think that, like, I don't think anyone who's in politics for long or who has built a career in politics is to be trusted. So it's like, we're not going to get a Vivek or a Trump every time. We're not going to get these guys. Yeah. And like a guy like Elon, I would never vote for. I would never support his candidacy. He wasn't born here.
After this,
even before
if he was born here though, say he was born here and all this had happened. Now after what he just did, I wouldn't either.
I don't know. I would just never support his candidacy, just given the fact that he's not an American-born person. Obviously, I do trust a lot of his judgment on what goes in America, because he conducts business here, and he obviously conducts on a large scale. He's the richest man in the world. I trust his take on numbers and things like that. But, I mean, I just don't trust him all the way. I never really have. I mean, I'm not going to blindly follow anybody. Obviously, I like that he supported Trump, and I like that he supported a lot of the agendas and America First stuff, but I don't know if he's willing to fly off the handle like this as soon as he loses a little control and power.
Yeah, that's
clearly not to be trusted.
People show you who they are in situations like this.
No, for sure, and I think that raises a red flag on like, can we trust these super rich people with money? Because like if they're gonna get out of power and just crash out like that, how can I trust you? You know, so
that's fair take.
Because I don't know. So I just feel like politics right now, or the state of American politics, is like trust nobody. I don't fully trust any politician or anybody in government, period. Because one side wants you relying on the government, and one side will tell you, oh, we're for the American people. But so how many of these people can we really trust? Because they are getting broke off. There's literal facts on that, you know?
Yeah.
And they're cheating the system. There's literal facts on that. So it's like, how many of these people can we trust?
Yeah, man, those are facts, man. So we just gotta, I guess, vote for politicians who, we feel have our best interest in heart. But y'all let us know in the comments, man.